What is going on, everybody? Lukey Boy here. Today I'm talking about the BORED APE Yacht Club brand, right? What I'm going to try to figure out and look at and try to understand is which one is going to be a buy in the future, which one compared to the BORED APE Yacht Club, the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and then the BORED APE Kennel Club, which one would I buy? Also the prices that I would be looking to buy if the instance occurs, if the event occurs, right? So I've gone ahead and opened up a bunch of their actual, basically the collections. And obviously, if you've not noticed, BORED Apes have kind of dropped quite decently compared to what they were a couple of weeks ago. They were about 78 ETH and now it's at about 50, interestingly enough. So what we want to do, and this is what I do a lot of the time, I look at the historical data to see where I would be comfortable buying. It doesn't mean that I'm going to buy it because anything can happen in the event that it gets there, right? I might not have any money. I might have bought other assets that happened to get to the price I want before I bought this one because I didn't get there fast enough. You get what I mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a quick thing. I'm going to look at the previous cycle. Obviously that was the previous cycle high, the low, and then the high, and then we're still working out the next one. So before the hype of the bull market occurred, let's just say around October-ish, you could even go, you can even somewhere around August, September, October. There was not much going on, right? As in, people weren't that hyped up about it. It wasn't really, going higher than this period here, and it was definitely nowhere near its previous all-time high. It was around 12 grand. So let's go ahead back into here and actually try to see from the historical data, and you can actually do this on here, I found out earlier, what the prices were around that point. So we're looking at August is around here. Obviously you can see, right, just because the average price at the top there says 66 doesn't mean that the floor price was 66. That is always something to bear in mind. What we can see here, right, is it was around, between the dates, it was about 15, 16 ETH for a BORED Ape, all the way to about 40, which isn't even that far away from where it is now. What's the date here? September, October? Yeah, 40-ish. It did drop off a little there, October 17th. So let's just say up to 40 max from about 15. Maybe we'll just say 15 to 40, which is a massive difference, right? But we want to see, the pricing. We just want to get a gauge of the pricing. So obviously, the most you want to be paying is 40 in this current cycle, give or take. And the lowest you want to be paying clearly isn't going to be 16, but around kind of 15, 16 is definitely a good buy. Now, again, you're looking at it and go, well, how is it going to get down to 15, 16? Well, you say that, but I could easily see it getting to 30. And then 15, 16 isn't massively different to that. We were at 140 ETH, something like that, back in 8 months ago, and now we're 50, 52. So basically, we've already shaved off like 80, 90, whatever it is, 90 ETH, 80 ETH, depending on what one you have, and it's at 50 something. So it's a lot, right? So you have to be, you might say, oh, it's never going to do that. Well, that's fine. Like, you don't need to watch this video otherwise. But these things happen. It's just cycles, and by being around in the crypto market since somewhere over here, somewhere around here, I've basically been actively watching and viewing and trading and buying and selling and all that crap, pretty much in all this. And so I know when people are like up here, oh, it's never going to go down. It went 3 from 7. Like here, everyone says 20 grand's the lows, and I'm like, oh, I see it going to 10, and then it drops down and everyone's panicking, and there's Black Swan events. I mean, there's Black Swan events here, crypto. There was COVID here, and there's other events over here. So it's China, I believe, or something like that. So they happen, right? Even though that was many years ago now, like 3-4 years ago, depending on where you're looking. But that happens. So you might think, well, just looking at this, I would say like 20 ETH on average as well, where I'd be looking to buy comfortably. I'd be looking, but maybe I haven't got 20 ETH. Maybe a bit too expensive. Okay, so let's also look at the Mutant Ape, because I'll go into something in a second, but also you've got to bear in mind how many are in the collection. Because you can see up here, they have 10,000 in the collection of the BORED Apes. Now, BORED Ape is, the one that gets you the most returns in terms of if they have a mint coming up and all that kind of thing, because they had a lot of mints and stuff that happened with the Ape token and the other side, the other world, or whatever that goddamn thing is, with their land. And that obviously means you get priority being a BORED Ape Yacht Club owner, but you still do get stuff by having this Mutant Ape, for example. You can see here, this is 20, give or take, a little bit less. So it has doubled the supply, but the cost is 5 times cheaper. So in my eyes, right off the bat, it's like, well, actually, that's not bad, yeah? It's 5 times cheaper. So is this all time? Let's just double check. Yeah, this is all time. So we want to get probably somewhere around this. Now, interestingly enough, I believe the reason there wasn't a lot going on here is because they weren't all created, or something. I wasn't August, I wasn't around at this point in NFTs, so I'm not sure. But you can see here anyway, over this period, the average price was around let's just say 4 to 6 ETH. Let's just say. We don't have to be perfect either. 4 to 6 ETH. So where would my comfortable place be? 5 or 4 ETH. In a period where NFTs aren't and crypto aren't doing well. And now you might even say, as a side note, I'm taking this as a reference of when things weren't to shit in like March, for example, or even before, but your data does not show us on here that far back, okay? I mean, it does in a way, right? It shows you close enough, but it doesn't on all the assets. So I'm taking it from a point that actually, that might not be what I'm saying these numbers to be, might not even be the lows. This might be the average low. So it might get lower because you might have, for example, here, this thing happen, and obviously you can buy in at a cheaper price in US dollars, and the ETH would be the same. But I'm talking on like a more sort of macro basis. Where is a good buy price? Just because it goes down from 5 to 3, that isn't the end of the world, right? Because you're getting in at a far better price than buying it at 10 or 15 or wherever you're at. That's more what I'm getting at with this video, just in case you obviously the future comes and you see it. So in my eyes, I would be looking at 4 ETH to be about the right price for a mutant ape, and it's at that, it's pretty close. I mean, it's not that close, but it's closer than it's been. I mean, this was 40 ETH at one point, right? So it's come down 75%, but it could still come down 90% to 4 ETH if you think about it. It was at 40, come down 90%, and it will be at 4. And you might think 90%. Well, you could use Ethereum as the Mutant Ape Yacht Club equivalent. Bored Apes is or punks and Bored Apes are the Bitcoin, and then Mutant Ape is like the Ethereum. Again, you don't know that, but Ethereum, how much did they come down before? 94% in the previous cycle. Where could I see it coming down this time? Pretty much the same, 90, and that would fall nicely with this VMPR, VRVP. Okay, I clearly slaughtered that name, and even it can even go down to $200. In a wick, but again, somewhere around this blue box is beautiful. Somewhere around 400. It's like not really that far away, is it? Yeah, to be honest. And I think, from what I've seen just right now, the Mutant Ape looks like a better buy at around 4, but you could potentially just see where the market is. And if the market is still looking terribly weak, you could probably hold off and buy it a little bit cheaper, maybe 2.5 to 3. But again, it just depends on where you are in the overall crypto market when these events potentially occur. You might be thinking, why are you even doing this? Why even predicting these? Well, I'm not predicting, I don't know. But what I'm trying to figure out for myself is where would I want to buy it based on certain aspects of the market? Because I don't want to be rushing to see, I don't want to have an event like wake up in the morning, Mutant Apes at 4, crypto's doing whatever it's doing. And I'm like, okay, so is it good? Is it bad? What's happened? I'm like, if I already mark off my scenarios of X, Y, Z, then I'm in a much better place to make an action instead of being reactive to the two situations that occur. Because in the crypto and NFT space, things move fast, right? And so for me, it's good to have these scenarios planned out so that you don't have to even start thinking about them because you already have planned them out. And you could go on, you could do hundreds of scenarios, right? The more you do, the better. It's just being prepared, ultimately. And then you could go ahead and look at the Bored Ape Kennel Club and do the same thing. Now this has about the same amount of items as the Mutant Apes. Okay, it still gets you access into the Bored Ape ecosystem. You can look at, again, the all-time highs were about 15, and it's now at, let's say 4 ETH to be generous. So it hasn't actually come down as much, really. 4, 8, what was it, 15? I guess it has, to be fair. They all come down roughly similar without going into the percentages myself. So what are we going to look at with the all-time? So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to pretty much draw that. Again, when things are released and it comes out at the beginning, things already have pumps and stuff. We want to see what happens when there isn't as much of the volume. Because when there's hype around like something coming out, the data is always skewed. You want to see it when it's just another NFT collection in the ecosystem, around here. So we want to be looking around here. Now, well, first we can look, it was at 1.8 here, but really it's at like 2. And then it gets up to about 4, 2 to 4. So we've done the same thing. So 2 to 4 actually is similar. It's a bit lower, but it's similar to the Mutant Apes from what we can kind of see here. Well, we're already at 3.58, which is interesting. So what you could also do is you go all time and see, because I believe this is not all time, reset soon. Yeah. Right there, it's pretty much at the lows around here. I mean, I don't think I actually looked at this properly. Is that right? 1.8? Yeah, it's not massively far away from its lows ever. Its lowest lows. So this actually seems to me that it's closer to where those lows could fall. Again, you're going to have to see where you are in the overall crypto space, because just if this got here next week, would you be happy buying at 2 ETH? Potentially, if you're looking for a long-term hold, because that's a great entry. But if you're looking in terms of tying up your capital now, when you could potentially find maybe a mutant in 3-4 months at 3.5 ETH, would you prefer that scenario? But then if you've got and this goes down a little bit further, now you don't want to sell it, and now you can't get your mutant. You've got to play all these variables into consideration. You've got to take them into consideration, sorry. So for me, I would be looking at this and be going, okay, I want to see it when the volume's not good, because that's probably what's going to happen when these prices come down. The volume isn't going to be too crazy. And where would I look to buy? Well, potentially you could say 2 ETH. And actually, in theory, that's still like a 40% reduction. So it's, even though it's relatively close. But yeah, 4 ETH looks pretty good. 2 ETH looks pretty good. So in my eyes, I would say around that price, it's a good entry. Now you might be, again, just because the average is at that price, it doesn't mean you won't be able to get like a wrapped ETH bid accepted a bit lower and stuff like that. They're all viable, but we're talking about the base price of floor. And for me, looking at this, it would not be a focus on Bored Apes. It would be a focus on Mutant and the Kennel Club. Again, it depends on your input your input in terms of your income of what you're able to do. Now, interestingly enough, the creators fees, I just noticed that on Bored Ape Kennel Club is 0%, and they're 2.5% for the mutants. So not that it's hugely different, but definitely something to take into consideration when you're looking to sell something. It means you can pay a little bit of a premium on the buy because you don't give away any creators fees of 2.5%. So you could pay 2.5% more, I think. Is that right? Something like that. So I would be looking to buy. I would not be focusing on Bored Apes, the ones themselves. I'd be looking on getting potentially a mutant at around like a 3 to 4. So you might get lucky and get a wrapped ETH bid accepted, like for half an Ethereum under, something like that. And I feel that would be really my focus would be on mutants. But getting a Bored Ape Kennel Club as well potentially would be also a great investment, because also if you're able to get these prices down in NFTs, and the price of Ethereum comes down to 600, you can pick one of these up for $1.5 grand, like a mutant, and you could pick up one of these Kennel Clubs for like 1,200. 1,200 when this was at 15 ETH, and that was at 45 grand, at least, plus, depending on when that was. So you're picking up for $1,250, and historically, in the last year and a half, it's been like 45 to 60 grand's worth potential sales at 15 ETH, if you're converting exchange rate and all that kind of thing. So it's something just to bear in mind, because now that I've looked at this and I've gone over it, I have a play to potentially do. So I can track, without tracking it, without literally going into the charts, I can just look at the prices, look at the crypto market, and I can just play off those two, because now I've done my analysis and I can check that off. I can obviously reevaluate the analysis as time progresses, and I can go ahead and look at other collections and do the same thing. And therefore I've got a good understanding of where I am in my mind about what I want to do and where I want to go. So I'll leave the video there. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.